Flyers, Phillies, let's talk about them. Sixers, Eagles, let's talk about them. What the Union doing? Pull up with the crew and have a drink or two and let's talk about them. This a PHI bar. Bruce Willis, we die hard. I know you feel us, cause Philly fans is the best sports fans by far. No cheating here, we gon' keep it fair. You don't like my set, somebody help them. This the key, if we can disagree without disrespecting, everybody welcome. So what we talking about? Practice? What we talking about? Let's unpack this. Top Shelf, Sports Talk, lights, cameras, we active.
Yo, it's your boy Jamar, Top Shelf Sports Talk. Back on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's going to be 77 degrees today. It's going to be nice. So enjoy the weather if you're going outside. And enjoy, hopefully, what we hope to be a victory on Eagles Sunday. Let's clap it up for that. Everybody knows that we got the Minnesota Vikings today, a tough team. Not only do they have a good offense, a great offense, they're missing maybe a quarterback. They have Carson Wentz starting today, a former Philadelphia Eagle. I don't think he's looking to prove anything because I know we faced him in the past on several of the stops that he's had in his career, but he's definitely just looking to play the best game that he can possibly play against a team that's struggling right now, defensively and offensively. He's looking to be the best that he could be against us. So, and he's got the weapons and the team to do it. The defense of that team is pretty good. Brian Flores is a pretty good defensive coordinator. He disguises blitz. He disguises defenses to make it look like he's coming after you, and until you snap the ball, and then he may drop out of it and then come back into it. And so far this season, those are things that we saw Jalen Hurts struggle against. So those things that he struggled against, we have to get cleared up and cleaned up. It's going to be a long game. And by no stretch of the imagination is this one of them games that we can sit here and believe that it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be any type of, any type of easy type of game. This game is going to be hard. This game is going to be stressful. This game is going to be, irritating. However you want to call it, this game is going to be every part of that. So I hope you Eagles fans are buckled up and ready to go because it's going to be a long ride. Now, do I think we have what it takes to get it done? Yes. As long as everybody can get on the same page mentally, that's number one. Mental is number one. Your mindset is number one. If everybody can get on the same page mentally, then we should be fine. If everybody can understand their positions and what they're supposed to be doing and do their job, we should be fine. If Jalen Hurts could figure out a way to not lock on to his first progression and go through everything, we should be fine. The Eagles need a win, so I believe that they will. Somebody they will come through today, both defense and offense. Good morning, Mother. Good morning. I believe so too. But it's going to be stressful. It's going to be hard. It's not one of those games to just sit there and be like, okay, it's an easy win. I believe that we will win, but it's going to be stressful. It's going to be like a close 23-20 type game. Now, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they go out there and prove me wrong. But I think it's going to be a close 23-20 game. And, like I said, it's going to be one of those games where we're stressing out because we'll see stuff that happened on the field that shouldn't have never happened. We'll see plays that was left on the field that should have never been left on the field. We'll see things that go on that shouldn't never went on. And again, like I said, Vikings are a pretty good team. And as long as Adoree Jackson is starting on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell, that receiver number 2 is going to have a field day. And I think that's Jordan Addison. I'm pretty sure they're going to put Quinyon Mitchell on Justin Jefferson all game. So Jordan Addison, or Madison, I think is his name, Jordan Madison and the other guy, Naylor, they're going to have pretty good games if they got that dynamic going. I don't understand why they traded for Jacorian Bennett, and then they're not. I don't know if he's just not good enough. He looked pretty good in the Raiders uniform, so I don't know. I don't know if he's just not as good enough. He's not ready, or what's going on. But I think that what we seen from Ringo and what you call Adoree Jackson, I would beg to differ that you got to try to put Jacorian Bennett out there, get him some reps, just to see what he can do. I mean, you have nothing that you're losing. You're not losing anything if you do that. You're not losing anything if you put another cornerback out there and see what he can do. You say, I don't think it will be as close as you're predicting. I believe there will be at least a 14 for you. I don't see how. We have no evidence this year that we should teams that we're supposed to be beating, teams that we're supposed to be beating by 14 or so points, we're barely beating them by 7 or 3. So Minnesota's a good team. Carson Wentz is playing some good football since taking over for J.J. McCarthy. It's not going to be an easy game. And they got good defense. It's not going to be an easy game. These teams that we played so far this season has been able to disrupt our offense and shut our offense down pretty much. And this is one of the teams that can shut our offense down because they disguise blitzes and they disguise coverages so well that they can confuse the heck out of Jalen Hurts. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's one of the things that Jalen Hurts needs to work on because he can't keep he can't keep locking on to his first progression. He got to go through it all because he's missing people. That interception should have been a touchdown to A.J. Brown. I don't know if he's nervous about his offensive line, but Jalen Hurts, we all know, is one of them people that if he feels as though things is not going his way, he tries not to be aggressive because he doesn't want to be the one that costs the game. He doesn't want to be the one that turned the ball over and costs the game. We need the defense to come through. The offense will take care of themselves. I agree. Defense has to wake up. But see, the thing is with defense, we're not getting enough pressure, and when we do get pressure, we're not getting the sack. It's times where we had Jackson Dart dead to rights, and we couldn't get him to the ground. You know what I mean? We had the pressure on him, but we couldn't get him. Even with Bo Nix, you had pressure on him, but you couldn't get the tackle, the sack. You got to get your defense off the field, and then the offense has to run more than 3 plays. You can't constantly go 3 and out on offense and keep putting your defense out there. That's what I was telling you, Mom, last week. You said, well, you shouldn't be tired. Yeah, you shouldn't. But your offense should design plays that'll last longer than 3 and out. That's how you get your rest. That's how you get your rest on defense. The more times you go out there and do 3 and out, it's harder for your defense to really get in the rhythm of being aggressive and stopping things because you're tired. You're to feel a little bit longer than you're supposed to. That's the issue when it comes to this defense. It's not that they don't have what they need to make stops and to be aggressive. It's that they're constantly out in the field. The moment they come off the field to take a break, they're going right back out there because the offense went 3 and out. The offense went 3 and out. We can't do that. We have no identity. We have no run game. We have no pass game. We have nothing. So Kevin Patullo, as much as people have been sticking up for him, I guess the players and everything has been sticking up for him, he needs to show something this week. He needs to do something more than what he's doing or has been doing this week. Because these losses are strictly on him and Nick Sirianni. It's on him and Nick Sirianni. People might say, well, the players out in the field are not executing plays. They're not. But when you have no identity, you saw after last year, after week 4, when the team went to Nick Sirianni and told them that we want to be a running team. Out the gate, Kellen Moore started designing plays to be effective in the run. Whether it was toss plays, up the middle, whatever it was, side to side. Saquon Barkley was running the ball. And to me, what I think people are trying to establish with the Eagles, or the Eagles are trying to establish, they're trying to go back to that old way of passing the ball to set up the run. And I don't think that's the way it goes anymore. Like, I don't think it's working like that anymore. I mean, look at Josh Jacobs right now for Green Bay Packers. They set up the run to establish the pass. Most of these teams now are running first and second down, run the ball. Create a short yardage situation for your quarterback. No matter how good your quarterback is, you don't want to constantly have him in 3rd and longs. And we all know right now, especially the way that Jalen Hurts has been playing, under pressure, you do not want to have Jalen Hurts in 3rd and longs. Because the team will bring pressure the defense that you're playing against will bring pressure every time. I guarantee you this, mark my words. You go third and long in this game against the Vikings, Jalen Hurts would see a blitz every time. And it would be a disguised blitz. He might not even know where it's coming from. And our offensive line is struggling right now. We get Landon Dickerson back this week, but we've been struggling. We're not creating the holes that we usually create. And somebody, let me say this. This might be what I would say is a hot take for me. Even though I don't like hot takes, but this is what I might say. Some of these losses we might be able to throw on Howie Roseman as well. Some of these losses we could probably put on Howie Roseman as well. And people might say, well, what you mean? And how would we trust? And he's did this, he's did that. Howie's a darn good GM. One of the best in the league, one of the best to do it. We know that, and I'm not taking that away from him. But I think we'll see today, especially with Isaiah Rodgers. He could have been our quarterback number 2. With Mekhi Becton, big man on the line. I mean, I don't think Tyler Steen has been that bad, but I don't think he's been that good neither. So it's players that we should have kept. That Howie, let go, because he wanted the draft picks. And don't get it wrong, them draft picks can add up to somebody, trading for somebody big, because there's a lot of rumors out there that the Eagles are looking to either get a pass rusher or a cornerback 2 at the trade deadline. Trade deadline is November 4th. But until then, we got today and we got at least today. We got today. Next week against the Giants again. Then a bye week, and then we'll see what happens. But we gotta get a win a day. If we don't get a win a day, it's gonna be hard for us. It's gonna be really, really hard for us to really contend and be Super Bowl back-to-back Super Bowl winners. It's gonna be hard. If we lose today, not saying that the ceiling is falling in, not saying that it's completely done and over, but if you lose today, and if you lose basically off of not being mentally prepared, just not being ready for the moment or not being ready to face adversity, it's going to be hard for this team to go back to the Super Bowl. Question is, Saquon's not the same as last year because Smith is complaining about not getting the ball. Is Hurts trying to make everybody happy? I think Hurts. This is my thought process. When the Eagles lost Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen in particular, and went to Brian Johnson as a play caller, I don't think Jalen Hurts liked how he was being used or liked the plays that were being called. And so I think Jalen Hurts is one of the people that'll check out because he's not getting the plays called that he likes. So I think he checks out in that manner. So when you say Smith is not getting the ball, I I think it's because of situations like that. When he believes that it's not going the way he needs it to go, he's not taking his time and looking through progressions and getting open receivers the ball. When it comes to Saquon Barkley not running the same as he did last year, I think the way they're designing the runs that should be that they're calling are not effective. That's what I believe is happening with Saquon Barkley, and I don't think our offensive line has held up as well as they did last year. So it's a combination of two things. I think you're not scheming to get Saquon open because I think you're running the same plays and you're going up the middle, which we see the boxes stacked, and our offensive line is not getting the blocks that they need for him to get through and make big runs. I think if you get the offensive line to block a little bit better, Saquon could break off a couple of them runs. But a lot of what we've been saying this season, Saquon been stopped in the backfield, 1 yard gain, 2 yard gains. Before he's able to get going, he's getting tackled. And again, that's what I was saying just a few minutes ago. You know, I'm not saying Mekhi Becton would have, it's the it factor, but he definitely would have helped because, like I said, Tyler Steen. I'm not saying that he's the problem, but I don't think he's necessarily the answer neither. I mean, everybody's getting beat though. Lane Johnson's gotten beat. Jordan Mailata's gotten beat this year, but we have to figure out a way to shore up that offensive line for Saquon to be effective. Design plays to the outside and not straight up the middle every time, so that part of it could be more effective. And no matter the play being called, Jalen Hurts needs to sit there and go through his progressions and throw the ball to the open receiver. Again, that interception last week shouldn't have been an interception because A.J. Brown was on the other side wide open. But when you lock on your first progression and force the ball that way, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And I put a video out on this on my page, Top Shelf Sports Talk. It's reminiscent of 2023 when you had the epic collapse. You had so much talent on the field on that team, but because I feel like Jalen Hurts checked out mentally because what was being called wasn't something that he wanted or he liked, he didn't apply himself the way he should have. Now, people say, well, he got the ability to check out of plays. He does. But I think he's so, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say it. He's so stern and stubborn or whatever, however you want to say it, it hurts him at times. And I think that if he goes to Kevin Patullo or even Nick Sirianni and just literally have a conversation and say, this is what I want, this is what's most effective to me, this is what I think would be most effective for the team, and try to get his point across, I think it might come out better. Because even though I believe that it was a hot take, and I put a video out there on it, when Donovan McNabb said that the Eagles organization does not trust Jalen Hurts. Some of it may be true now, because reason why it may turn out to have a little truth to it is because if you're not going to them and trying to make the offense better, do I trust you to really be a leader? Like, can I really trust you to be a leader if you're not trying to lead? If you're one of those people that, I'm gonna take my ball and go in the house because nobody picked me to play on your team. It's like, are you really trying to get better and play ball? Or are you just trying to you just want to be salty and mad and go in the house? You know what I mean? And that might not make sense to some people because people would say, well, he's a Super Bowl winner. He just came off a Super Bowl win. He's the top 5, top 10, however you want to place him in the league quarterback. That's very much so true. But his mental has to be different. His mental, everything ain't going to be the way you want it to be. but you're in a position to make it be the way you want it to be as long as you keep applying yourself and leading by example. Even though, we saw A.J. Brown say if you're not being used, quietly back out, whatever, however he said it, and it goes to say that maybe he's not getting um he's not getting through to the coaching staff of what he needs to, be done on the field to be successful. But you don't give up. You don't throw in the towel. You keep fighting. You keep going. Because at the end of the day, you don't play football. You don't play football for yourself. You play for your team. You play for that name on the back of your jersey. It's 22 guys out there on the field. Everybody wants to win. And just because we're not getting things called the way we want them to be called doesn't mean that you gotta, tuck your tail in and fold up and run away. You gotta play the game. Because some of the plays that you might not like or think that should be called probably can work if you just execute in the right way. If you keep consistently looking through your progressions. Again, you threw an interception because you were trying to force a ball that should have been thrown to the other side of the field. You got to start looking guys off. You know what I mean? You got to start using that peripheral. You might want to make that safety believe you locking on to this guy. But meanwhile, you see AJ streaking down the sideline. I'm just going at the last second, turn my head and chuck it. And he's got to be better at getting, people always say that Jalen Hurts is not a passing quarterback. He's not an accurate passing quarterback, especially for the deep ball. He overthrew some guys last week. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that he's not accurate. Because you've seen him also drop the ball in the basket. Too many people coming at Hurts in too many ways. Too much pressure on him. But see, when you're in this type of city, blue collar, blue city, hard nosed, city, you got to be able to take that pressure. You got to be able to take that pressure. You're in a market where winning is not always the norm. Winning is not always the norm. We struggled through years of terrible football, and you knew when you got drafted that it was probably going to be your job to turn it around if you wanted that position. So yes, it's too much on him. It's too much pressure on him. But you've seen guys, some of the greats, when pressure on them, they strive to they perform the best. Even when it's too much pressure on them, they perform the best when it's that pressure on them. So Jalen Hurts got to understand, yes, it's a lot of pressure on me to do better and be better as a quarterback. I got to accept the challenge and perform. If I really want to be mentioned with Hall of Fame guys, if I really want to be mentioned as a Hall of Famer, top 5, top 2, whatever position in the league, which we know that he doesn't care about, all he cares about winning, but he has to perform under those circumstances. The pressure is going to be on him no matter what. It's going to be on him no matter what. So he has to sit back and say, I'm going to perform no matter what light, what pressure, whatever situation I'm in, I'm going to go out and perform the best as I can perform. And what we've seen over the last few weeks is not the best Jalen Hurts. I'm talking about players coming at him. I understand that, but it still doesn't matter. You're the quarterback of a team. You're going to take a lot of scrutiny. Everybody's going to point at you when things go wrong. He got to stand his ground, and he got to fight to make sure that he does better the next play around. Like I said, you can't tuck your tail and walk away because people are pointing at you, whether it's the city, whether it's the fans, whether it's your teammates, coach staff, whoever. You got to go out and still perform at a high level, no matter how it comes. Because if you, just like last year, it was always that, okay, Saquon Barkley, if we stop Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts can't beat us. And that was coming from everybody in the, around the football league. It was coming from fans. It was coming from. So when you see him go out there and perform at the high level, throwing the ball in the Super Bowl, outperforming Patrick Mahomes for the second time in the Super Bowl, that was him saying, I don't care about what nobody said. I'm going out and playing my game no matter what. And that's what brought him the Super Bowl. So it doesn't matter if it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, his offensive line. Go out there and prove them wrong. That's what you're supposed to do. You're in position to do that. You're in position to go out there and prove these guys wrong, even though they're your teammates. You think that I'm not good enough to be out here and do this thing, or you think that I don't have the mental capacity or the mental toughness or whatever the case may be? Now I'm gonna show you. He should take the challenge from any and everybody that presents it to him, teammate or not. He should take any challenge that anybody presents to him, because he's still really, even though I consider him a top 5 quarterback, he still really has to prove that he belongs on that stage with the talent we have. And people will say, you put any quarterback behind, on the other side, take him out and put another quarterback in, quarterback, they'll take him to the Super Bowl. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Jalen Hurts has to consistently prove that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. I think if he was able to dominate this year, this season, and take his team back to the Super Bowl, I think it would be a lot different as far as how people look at him. And some of that pressure will start to come off, because they just would expect it from him. They will expect greatness from him. They won't challenge his thought process, his mental, and his ability to play quarterback. And that's what we see a lot right now, is even with his teammates, or even with other players around the game, analysts and everything, they challenge his mental and his thought process and making sure he's able to play the game. Like I said, I put a video out on it on my page talking about it, because I feel like this is, if they lose today, you can kind of compare this to the 2023 season, when we started out 10-1, and then we lost every game after that. And again, even back then, I said, if Jalen Hurts doesn't get his mindset together, that man's going to have a long, long, tough career, because at the end of the day, you're not mentally ready or prepared to play the game whenever you come into controversy and you want to fold. That's not what Philly stands for. That's not what we stand for. It's sort of like I always criticize Joel Embiid. Like, how much do you really want it if you're not coming in prepared for it? Or if you're worried about what other people are saying about you, or if you're worried about what the media is saying about you, or what people around the league are saying about you. It's like what Shaq said about Joel Embiid. It's like, his mindset is trained to lose, so it's hard for him to win. But if you want to change that narrative, so far this year, it looked like you came in shape, you came in focused and ready to go. So we'll see how that season plays out. But you got to put the work in on yourself. Jalen Hurts got to put the work in for himself, and understand that scrutiny comes with the position. When you're the man on any team, Trevor Lawrence right here that's on, number 1 overall pick. Everybody in Jacksonville is calling for Trevor Lawrence, because he should be better than what he's displaying. You're a franchise. You can't let whatever anybody else says about you get to you. I don't think it's Hurts that's the problem. It's other players that want him to change his strategy for their benefit. I don't who want, I don't. I'm not 100% blaming Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying it's all on Jalen Hurts. It's not. It's he's not performing. I think that it's like when you got the best player on your team, right? And you see the best player on your team moping around. Quite naturally, it's infectious, because the rest of your team will start moping around. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts mopes. What I'm saying to you is that, in my eyes, I believe that Jalen Hurts, his demeanor, his energy, like it, when he's got like negative or down energy, it radiates to the team. You know what I mean? Like when he's high energy, you see him celebrating after a big catch or whatever. You see the team reacting, and that's what I mean by that. Like he's not the total reason why they lost or why they losing, but even when you get plays that you get that are getting called that you don't like, doesn't matter how you feel about the play. You go out there and you execute the play, no matter how it comes. And I think once you sit there and you lock on a receiver, it becomes a point where you gave up on that play. I'm a big fan of the Eagles seasons. Better Eagles kick Vikings butts. We got to. We got to. No, I'm not blaming him. I'm saying that he's the head of it, right? He's the head of the team. Just like with any at any head of the team, head of a team, any of them, any quarterback. Just look at their position and what they do. You got to understand that, like Matthew Stafford right now, they go as far as he goes. Anybody will tell you that they go as far as your quarterback go. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is the reason why they lost, but I'm pretty sure Matthew Stafford has gotten plays called, to him, called into him that he did not like and did not agree with, but he still went out and made the play or trying to make the play the best he can. Eagles 28. I don't think it's that much of a blowout, but I hope it is. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And celebrate that. I hope you're right. But I'm not blaming him 100%. I talked about the offensive line not being as dominant as they was, last year and the year before in prior years. I talked about the defense, the cornerback 2 position not being, a solidified position and that position getting beat. I talked about the defensive line not getting sacks and getting off the field. So and again, like I said, when it comes to Jalen Hurts, even the plays that are being called that you don't like, you still need to find a way to execute the play because we need to keep the defense off the field as long as we can to keep them getting rest so that when they get back out on the field, they're more dominant than what they've been. So it's a team effort. It's a total team. This is total team losses. I put that on Facebook last week when we lost. This is everybody. This is from Nick Sirianni, and I even went again. You heard me in the beginning of the video say I even give Howie Roseman some of this loss, some of the reason why we losing. So it's a whole organization, total team loss. Everybody got to be better, not just Jalen Hurts. Everybody got to be better. Everybody got to perform better. Like, I'm not asking for perfection from Jalen Hurts or anybody else. I'm asking for these guys to consistently do their job and know why they're doing it. And this is what the only thing I'm asking really from Jalen Hurts is no matter what you like or what you want to be called, what play you want to be called, it does not matter. Just whatever's called. Even if you gotta check out of it, that's cool. But check out of it or execute the play the best you can. Do not lock on a receiver. Go through your progressions. Trust everybody to do their job. Trust your offensive line to do their job. And when you feel the pressure, you move out of the way and get some positive yardage. Hurts and the O-line needs to be better. Exactly. What's up, Jay? That's my point. I'm not blaming 100% on Jalen Hurts. I'm asking him to change his mental thought process when it comes to. I'm asking him to say to himself, like, even though I don't like this play, even though I believe that this play is not a good play or it's not effective or whatever the case may be, let me execute it. Let me try to execute it and not just lock onto it and try to make it seem like or prove that their play is a bad play. Like I said, it's quarterbacks out there around the league that has been has been played, had plays sent into him that were garbage plays. But you know what? They said I'm gonna execute it the best way I can. And some of them probably turned out to be like, oh, this wasn't a garbage play. I just didn't go through my progressions, or I just didn't sell it enough. Now that I do all that, and now it works. So, like I'm saying, it's just not on Jalen Hurts. It's on the team. Howie Roseman, all the way down. That, truthfully, truthfully, it's really on on special teams too. I forgot about special teams with Bigsby and all of them keep dropping the ball on kickoffs. We're starting behind 20 every time. So that's the biggest factor right there is starting behind the 20 every time. You're not starting at the 30 to 35. You're starting at the 20 to 15 and sometimes the 10. Which when you do that, all kind of pressure is going to come. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a Jalen Hurts, me saying Jalen Hurts is the reason why we're losing. It's a whole total team effort. I totally missed the mark and forgot to say it was, about the special teams. And I'm not talking about the special teams defense is has held us down with the block extra points and all that. But the kickoff returns stunk this year, and it's like unprecedented. They stunk. We definitely can work on our field position game. Exactly. Because you're starting at the 20 and a lot of times lower. 20, 15, 10. And not because they're just putting the ball in a good spot. And you're fair catching is a lot of times you're fumbling the kickoff. A lot of times you're fumbling the kickoff. That's hurting us. Those two picks was really wasted. What two picks you talking about? Are you talking about the Bigsby and what's the other one? Well, they brought the other guy Gibson in from the Jets. We got to see what he could do. But those plays right there hurt us because you're not starting off with good field position to be able to call the plays that you want to call. But again, it still doesn't matter. You still got to call or execute what is being called into your helmet. That's just it. We know, like Jimmy, we know that Jalen Hurts can sometimes have mental breakdowns because we know that if you really watch him play and really watch his demeanor and all that stuff, he's very, very cerebral. Like he just, but I feel like he's one of those guys that if it doesn't go the way he wants it to go, he starts to lose confidence in what's around him. So if he believes the offensive line is supposed to protect him and not let him get sacked, I believe that he's one of them guys that the minute he takes too much pressure than what he believes he should take, he starts to fall back and break down from it and not trust it. That's the 2023 season. Because he didn't like what was going on, he checked himself out of it. Because him and Nick Sirianni had all kind of issues and problems. I think Jalen Hurts is most comfortable with somebody who's experienced. He can go through, various different play callers because he's been going through them since he's been in the league. Which is his fourth play caller since he's been in the Eagle uniform, fourth or fifth. But when he has experienced play callers, it's easier for him to trust them and listen to what they're saying versus somebody who's inexperienced he doesn't trust that. He doesn't trust that thought process, that mindset. So those are the things that he has to work on. Like no matter who's the play caller, you don't check out of it because you don't like it. You try to do what you can do to, execute the play. And that's that's just the only thing that I believe that he does wrong. I'm not blaming, like I said, I'm not blaming everything on him. I think he can do better when it comes to certain situations, but it's not all on him. These last 2 weeks are not all on him. It's a total team effort, you know. But he has to be better in reading coverages and executing the plays no matter the call. That's what I've been saying all show. He has to be better in that aspect. I've been saying that literally all show. Today he's going up against a coordinator who's great at designing or disguising blitzes, pressures, and all that. He's one of the best at, after the snap, changing up what he called or making the defense change up what he called. So this is the mindset that Jalen Hurts has to understand. Like, he has to be able to read what's on the field, go through his progressions, trust every player on the field to do their job. You got A.J. Brown, one of the biggest, strongest receivers out there. You got to put the ball up there and let him catch it. I disagree with you about Hurts. Yes, he does make mistakes, but I just don't think it's more him. I think it's everybody. That's what I've been saying the whole show. I'm not blaming 100% on Jalen Hurts, but he has to take his blame in this too. I'm not saying it's 100% on Hurts, but he got to take his blame. Do you think that last interception against the Giants, his first interception of the year against the Giants, I want you to understand, it's the Giants. That interception right there, when A.J. Brown was on the other side of the field wide open, that's him. That's on him. That's on him. I mean, I don't care how you look at that one. That's on him. So he, in that particular game alone, he has to take his blame. A couple of that overthrow to who was that? Jahan Dotson, or was it Smitty? That's him. There's things that's him that he has to take the blame for. He's the quarterback of the team. That's what I've been saying all morning. It starts off with him, but then you got to understand that there's everybody else that contributes to it too. Special teams, a big factor in why we don't have the best field position. Special teams. Defense not getting sacks and getting off the field on third downs. The cornerback 2 position getting torched all game long. And it's probably going to be like that today. I'm not just sitting here blaming Hurts 100%, but it starts with him and then it goes down. Like I even told you earlier, it goes from, I even give it to Howie, Nick, Kevin Patullo, and go down. The only problem I the only person I haven't gave too much of blame for, and I'm about to start to, depending on how this game turns out, is Vic Fangio. At some point, you got to know that Kelly Ringo, and I'm not saying Kelly Ringo is all Kelly Ringo's fault, but at some point, you got to know you got to figure out a way to get somebody in there that can play cornerback too. You do. Yep, he missed many. A.J. 2 touchdowns would have made that a whole different game. Exactly. So it starts out with him, and then it goes to everybody else. A.J. Brown gets some of the blame too. He stopped running on one of the plays that, even though it might have been slightly overthrown, but he slowed down in the route. And they asked him about it. He said, "Oh, I turned around, looked twice, and didn't see the ball coming, so I didn't think it was coming to me." He seems to make those mistakes out of frustration, and that's the point. You can't get frustrated. You can't, like, frustration. Yes, you will get some type of frustration, but you let it die with the play that didn't work. So that last play, that's it. You don't take it to the next play. But to me, he holds on to it. To me, he holds on to it, and you can't do that. You can't do that. So that's what I'm saying. There's certain parts of the game that I believe is his fault, and certain parts of the game I say it's not his fault. I'm giving everybody from the top of the organization down to the bottom their blame. The only person I haven't really singled out so far is Vic Fangio, but he's about to get caught out depending on how today's games go. He's about to, you know. But anyway, that was my first half, and my keys to victory for the Vikings is just basically getting Jalen Hurts in a better mental capacity. He needs to get himself better mentally to be ready to play the game. And no matter what it's called, go out there and execute it. That's one thing that they need to do to win the day. Two, they just need to develop plays that goes, that works for the organization, that works for the team. Running plays that works for Saquon Barkley. They need to design better run plays. The O-line needs to block better. When they win today, let's see how you talk about them next week. Listen, I hope that they win the day so I can eat every word that I just said, especially for the rest of the season. I hope they win convincingly today. I hope Jalen Hurts look like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning out there so I can play. Oh, next week I'll come on here and tell you, like, oh, he got his act together and he looks like the quarterback that we need him to look like. See, I'm one of them fans that'll call you out when you ain't looking good or you ain't doing good. But I'm also humble enough to say, yeah, maybe he did show something now. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is a bum and I want him traded and gone or nothing like that. I don't go to those extremes like some of these fans do. But I know he could do better. How you gonna call out Vic? The D only had one really bad game this season. No, well, here's the thing: not calling him out for the D not being or having one bad game or whatever the case may be. Like, what players you got on that field. Cornerback 2, since we've been playing since week 1, we knew has been a struggle. You got to figure out a way to get Jacorian Bennett ready to play the game because you traded for him to be on the other side because you saw early on that Adoree Jackson wasn't it. And, Kaylee Ringo may need more time. So, it started to be on him to make those changes. You got to try at least to put Jacorian Bennett in the game to see what he can do. You got to try. You traded for him. You know what I mean? Because it's a difference if you're getting production out of Ringo and some production out of he's on IR. I didn't know he was on IR. Okay, I didn't know that. That explains a lot. Then I didn't know he was on IR. Okay, my bad. My bad. My bad. I'll give you that. But I didn't know. But I'm just saying that's the only reason why I would start blaming, or not blaming, but putting some of the blame on him is because we need to get some of these positions shored up a little bit better. You know what I mean? What you call retiring out of nowhere, it hurt us. It's hurting us. You said, how can he play a game? How can who play a game? How can who play a game? If you're talking about Jacorian Bennett, I didn't know he was on IR. That was my fault. But there you have. That was my first half rant of the show. Now we're getting into the picking part of the show, which a lot of us started out with a loss. A lot of us started out with a loss. Cincinnati wind up beating Pittsburgh. So, and it was not expected. That was they called that the icy hot bowl. Two 40-year-old quarterbacks. I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be, victorious in that one, but we've seen Joe Flacco. You can only cook with the ingredients you have available to you. I agree with that. But if you're not using all of your seasons in the cabinet, how you know how the food going to taste? You gotta try everything to make the food taste better. You know what I mean? If somebody's complaining about the way your food tastes, you gotta do something to make it taste better. That's what I'm saying. So you gotta, I didn't, like I said, I didn't know Jacorian Bennett was on IR, but if he wasn't and you're not playing him, then that's a problem. Yeah, Steelers choked that up. Of the Unks. Battle of the Unks, yeah, okay, yeah, Battle of the Unks, yeah. So now we got the Rams at Jacksonville, and the Rams are still beating Jacksonville 21-0. I picked the Rams in that game because I feel as though Jacksonville is a good team, but I don't think they are a consistent team because, like I said earlier, even with Trevor Lawrence, he hasn't been the best quarterback he could be in that for that team. And I'm not saying they got powerhouses or anything like that, a receiver or whatever, but he's not been the best for that team. So again, that's another team that I'm saying that the blame starts out with the quarterback and then it trickles down to everybody else. But I had the Rams picking that game. Jason had the Rams picking that game, and I don't know, Mom, who you had. Did you pick the Jaguars or did you pick the Rams in that game? The next game is New Orleans Saints at the Chicago Bears. The Bears got a victory last week. Trevor's not consistent. Exactly. That's the point. Um, we saw the Bears get with a 1 point victory last week. Who they play? The Jets, I believe. Who did they play last week? They had a 1 point victory last week. In their pool. And just by the way, just to let you know, Jason and my mom, last week I went 11-4. I won every game from 1 o'clock to through 4 o'clock, and then the 8 o'clock game and the 2 Monday night games sold me along with the Eagles. So I just want y'all to know I did better than both of y'all. So y'all can start listening to me a little bit more. Jason picked the Bears. I picked Chicago in the New Orleans game. Oh, they played the Commanders last week and won by 1 point. Yep, they won by 1 point last week, and that was a tough victory because everybody thought the Commanders would. I think everybody picked the Commanders to win. Yeah, because that was the doubleheader on Monday night. Yep, Commanders exactly. They sold. Um, Next game, Miami Dolphins at the Cleveland Browns. I picked Cleveland in this game. What you mean 1 week? Um, oh no, you saying it's only 1 week that I was on top. It's been plenty of weeks that I've been on top, but I just don't say nothing because I don't want y'all to get discouraged and not want to play and participate. So I just kind of keep it to myself. Whatever, but you won. Yeah, y'all you won the battle of the mediocrity bowl. Like y'all you was I think what you went 10-6 and Jason went 9 and something whatever he went. Yeah, I don't do that over here. I'm 11-4. And better. My mom picked the Bears. Jason went with Miami. Without I think Miami has so much turmoil going on. I think they're with Tua coming out and putting the team on blast and all that. I think it's going to be a lot of people checking out on that team. Um, Tyreek Hill's out obviously with that gruesome knee injury. Um, I'm picking Cleveland because I think Dylan Gabriel might wind up getting benched. They might go with him and see, and if he doesn't do much, I think they'll go and just get a ball to Shador Sanders, which will I think infuse some energy in that team, and I think they will rally and win that game. Or I think they will win it either way because I just don't think Miami's a good team, and Cleveland has one of the best defenses in the league. So I think it's just a Cleveland game either way. But I think you'll see a Shador sighting today.
What?
Yep, I think you'll see a Shador sighting today. Um, Next game, New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. Um, you got these loud cars that ride past. They'll be going nowhere fast. Hold on. Jason went with Miami, starting my own pick'ems. Stay tuned. Okay. All right, we'll see. If they lose to the Browns, they will definitely check out. Well, the Browns got one of the best defenses, so I think they're gonna lose no matter how no matter how you say it. I think they're gonna win. I think that team's already checked out. Cleveland, my mom picked Cleveland. Um, but next game, New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. I go Patriots. Patriots, Mike Vrabel has them playing, at a high level. You know what I mean? Like I said, Drake May, Stephon Diggs, that connection, and also other receivers. I think Kendrick Bourne has been looking good with them. So I think the Patriots have a good team that they could beat that young up and coming Tennessee team. Tennessee got a couple years to really be contenders because they fired their head coach. But Cam Ward looks pretty good. Like he got an arm. Like he can, he's going to be good at the game for years to come. They just got to put the pieces around him. Um, Next game is Jason went with the Pats. I'm pretty sure my mom going with the Patriots because she went to college in Boston. Next game is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though I think that the Chiefs have been done for the year, or their reign is coming to an end. I got the Chiefs winning this game because I don't have any confidence in the Raiders and their offense or their team. Period. Geno Smith hasn't looked nearly as nearly as good as he looked when he was in Seattle. So I think that's a struggle. So that's why I picked Kansas City. Kansas City gets another receiver back this week, Rasheed Rice. So I think it's going to be that old what you've seen in the last couple of years, Patrick Mahomes, spreading the ball around the field, and I think they find a way to beat Vegas and Kansas City. So I'm going Kansas City in that game. My mom said New England not because of college. Yeah, right. That firing is crazy work. Yeah, they fired it. I know. I don't think nobody saw that happen. It was the second year, I think, um, and they fired him. Like you gave him a team that had no chance of competing. You know, Jason picks the Chiefs. My mom's picks the Chiefs. I pick the Chiefs. Next game is our game, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. Like I said, it's gonna be a tough game. It's Geno's a turnover waiting to happen. It's going to be a tough game for the Eagles. Like I said, Quinyon Mitchell is probably going to hold down Justin Jefferson, but that other side is going to go crazy on us. And hopefully, Vic Fangio schemes a defense to kind of give that cornerback to some help because he's going to need it. He's going to need it. So obviously, I'm going to Philadelphia because I believe this is one of those games that we have player only meetings, all week long or a couple times on the week. Players seem to be okay or happy with what's been going on in practice this week. So I feel like this is one of those team bonding moments where we go out and just play the game the way we know how we can play the game, and we go out and get a victory. However, I don't think it's a victory that's going to be easy. I think it's going to be one of those battles where we might be stressed out at times. Excuse me, sorry, but we go out and get the victory. Um, Next game is the Carolina Panthers at the New York Jets. New York Jets. For me. Justin plays most of the slot. It's a coop game. Okay, we're gonna see. Um, the New York Jets. Oh, the Carolina Panthers at the New York Jets. Now the Carolina Panthers have beat the Cowboys. They've been playing some good football over the last couple weeks. I think that even though that they're the better team over the Jets, I feel like the Jets find a way to get their first victory of the season. I don't know why it is at this point. I just think I've called it for the Jets the last 2 or 3 weeks to get their first victories, and they just narrowly lost probably the last 2 or 3 weeks. My mom went the Eagles, but I went the Jets in this game. Jason went the Panthers. I went the Jets because I feel like there's something they're going to click on something today and get their first victory. Now, mind you, that's my upset pick. That's my upset pick. So trust me, when I pick upset picks, I'm usually right. I picked Carolina to beat the Cowboys. I think one other person picked that. You know what I mean? But I picked it, first, and I told y'all didn't want to listen to me. And my mom goes to Jets too. Jason with the Panthers. Like I said, I think the Jets somehow get a win today. Next game, New York Giants at the Denver Broncos. Broncos to me is going to win that game. Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterable. I mean, they played good against us, but I don't think it keeps going. I think they'll probably be a good duo, but it won't be lasting long. Shout out to my man Ant Watson. He won the pick 'em last week, and again, like I said, Ant, I appreciate you playing and supporting it. But I need the traffic on here, so that's why I did the giveaway the way I did. But appreciate you for being a part of it. They're not going to be able to stop the run. I took Panthers. Yeah, but at some point, like they've been losing games by like 1 point, 3 points. They lose games like pretty much at the last minute. They're a good team. They just haven't been able to execute at the end. So that's why I think today they might get their victory. And like I said, I picked Carolina to beat your Cowboys, and they did. You know what I mean? And so, at some point, y'all gotta listen to me. Jason went Broncos. My mom went Broncos. Um, Next game is the Colts at the Chargers. I got the Colts. I miss Shane Steichen. I'm gonna say that every time I say something about the Colts. I miss Shane Steichen. I miss him. I miss Shane Steichen, and right now I'm missing Kellen Moore. Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore. So I went with the Colts that game. The Colts team is they for real. I think they for real. They are threatening that AFC. Teams got to pay attention to the Colts. I like the Colts and what they're doing, what they're putting out there on the field. So I'm going Colts in that game. Um, they're not authorized. They are not authorized good team field stink. I hear you. I hear you. I'm not saying they're winning no Super Bowls or anything like that, but I just think today is the day they get their first victory. True, but Jets' run defense is horrible. Rico had over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yes, and he'll had not to try to be smart. He had Rico Dowd had 200 yards on y'all. Sorry, my bad. I know you're just trying to spit facts, and I hear you, but I just saying, again, I'm not saying that this team is winning Super Bowls or anything like that. I'm just saying that I think today is the day that they wind up banding together and winning a tough game, a close game. My mom and Jason picked Indy. My bad. I had to take the shot. My bad. Um, I picked Indy in that game. Next game is the Commanders at the Cowboys. Deebo Samuel is out. Now, when I made my pick, I didn't know Deebo Samuel was going to be out. However, I don't think it really stops anything or changes anything because we know that Dallas has one of the best offenses in the league, but one of the worst defenses in the league. So I think Commanders are going to run the ball all over the field on them, and I think Commanders come out with a victory in Dallas. It's a division game. They play, in division you play each other, tough. I think that the Commanders have enough to pull out a victory in that game. So I went with Commanders in that game. Um, Next game, Jason went with Commanders. I believe my mom probably, I don't know, I think she probably would have went with the Commanders out as well, but we'll see when she put her pick up. Um, Next game is the Green Bay Packers at the Arizona Cardinals. I'm sure my mom's going to tell you how much the weather is. So she went with the Cowboys, how the weather is in Arizona, but we're not here for that. We didn't ask those questions. We just asked what team you picked to win. I'm going Green Bay in that game, even though Green Bay, see, what kills me about analysts and everything like that, and I'm not saying Jordan Love is the bum, but they had Jordan Love ranked higher than Jalen Hurts. And Jordan Love, to me, always starts out looking real good. And he starts to fizzle out and even out and be like average. I'm not saying he's the average quarter. He's slightly above average quarterback. I just don't think that he's what people make him out to be. That's my thing. I'm going with the Packers. Michael Parsons, to me, too, hasn't been like a reason why this team, everybody thought this team was going to be what it should be. I don't know. I think Michael Parsons and that team still got some things to work on, still things to do, but we'll see. You know what I mean? Like I said, Packers, adding Michael Parsons definitely didn't hurt anything. It only helped. But I went Packers in that game. Um, my mom went Cowboys. That was the last game. Jason went Packers. Um, so I got Packers in that game. Next game is the Atlanta Falcons at the San Francisco 49ers. Atlanta has been a tough team. They beat the Bills last week. It seemed like they might have finally figured out, football. I don't know. And with the Packers, Jason with Packers, I'm pretty sure. Um, I don't know who my mom went. Oh my God, here it is. Here it is. Arizona, sunny and 88 degrees. Good day. I don't know if you typoed there. You said get day for you to be in Arizona for your listeners too. Oh, whatever. You took Atlanta. I took Atlanta too. Falcons. Jason went Falcons. My mom corrected her typo because she went to Overbrook High School, and usually that's what happens. You can't spell the simple words the right way. Sorry, mom. Sorry, mom. Um, next game, we got two games on Monday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. Tampa Bay has lost every starting receiver they have this year. They're going in with a bunch of backups. Um, I think the backups are not enough to beat the Detroit Lions. If it was anybody else, I would have picked Tampa Bay. But the Detroit Lions, even though they lost, I think Brian Branch got suspended for a game, so they lost a piece or two. I still think Detroit beats this game because just the fact that Baker Mayfield is probably going to have to be a magician in order to go out and win this game. So I went with Detroit to win this game. Um, cheap shot, yeah, I know. But hey, listen, man, you spelling words too. You said cheap shot, cheap. I think you meant. You know what I mean? I took Oh, Mike Evans is back. I thought he was still out. I thought they held him out. See, look at you, Jay. And not a cheap shot, y'all. Y'all didn't go to the best schools in the Philadelphia. Y'all didn't go to University City High School where you wouldn't make those mistakes, you know. And the bad part is your phone got autocorrect, so I don't, that's even more of a reason why. You know. So I picked Detroit in that game, and the next game is Houston at Seattle. San Francisco will be at the Warriors game. This is not basketball. We're talking football right now. My mom picked Tampa Bay still to win that game, and we saw him say that Mike Evans is back. So we'll see in that game if Mike Evans is back and if that hamstring is going to limit him in his ability on the field. But I went Detroit in that game. I just think Detroit, if they do have Mike Evans back, I don't think it might not be enough. But because they still got a lot of Bucky Irvin is out, they got a lot of injuries on that offense. So that's the only reason why I'm picking Detroit. Um, Jason said, autocorrect be getting you. I know, but you should correct autocorrect. And said I took Seattle. I think I can't tell who you took right now because I would have to go on my um, on the app and see. But my mom said, "What was your GPA?" It was a 4.9, I believe. It was a 4.9. So it was I had one of nobody ever done it in school history. So Jason picked who? No, my mom picked Seattle. Who'd you pick, Jason, in the last game? Houston at Seattle. I picked Seattle. I think Seattle is the better team. Jason picked Seattle. Like I said, Seattle has been playing some good football. Sam Darnold's been looking good over the last 2 years. It's hard to understand how San Francisco, Carolina, or the Jets couldn't figured it out with Sam Darnold. Maybe it just was the offense. No, that's true, Jay. That's really true. It's like one of the best what you call it that one of the best GPAs ever. Like you can look it up. Look it up. But anyway, that is my time for this Sunday morning. I appreciate everybody that came through. My mom, Jason, and what's the other guy who checked in for a minute? Let me look his name up. Shoot, I want to give everybody their props. Where's his name at? Little G Griffith. Appreciate you for coming on and getting your score prediction out. Again, this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a close game. I got a 23-20 victory for the Eagles, but it's going to be tough and it's going to be down to the wire. So Eagles fans, just buckle up and hold on and just go for the ride. But again, if you can, go on all my social media platforms, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitch. Like all my posts if you can, share them out, whatever, do whatever you can to help boost the algorithm, boost my my page, and get it out to other people. I appreciate everybody who support me. It means a lot. But enjoy your Sunday, and just so that we go out, just so we kind of go out with some type of hypeness and being hyped and ready for the game. Let me do what we normally try to do, if I can get my stupid mouse to work.
Thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win.
What are we waiting for?
You know what you gotta do. Do it.
How you feel what's about to happen on this field, man?
They gonna get it to us. We got to take it.
They won't black out. We gonna give them a black out. Stay together and keep fighting. Now, time to knuckle up. Do everything that move. And it is Hurts touchdown.
Ryan Westbrook, he scored! Touchdown!
And the Eagles win. The Eagles win. Let's get it to them all day. Relentless, relentless, relentless. Are you spirit? Are you power? Are you love? Give me what you got. Right here, right now. You ain't ready for a fight? Go ahead and go home. Because that's what this gonna be for 4 quarters. A fight. We always win when we fight together. That's how winning is done.
Now get out there.
EAGLES, Eagles!
Flyers, Phillies, let's talk about them. Sixers, Eagles, let's talk about them. What the Union doing? Pull up with the crew and have a drink or two and let's talk about them. This a PHI bar. Bruce Willis, we die hard. I know you feel us, cause Philly fans is the best sports fans by far. No cheating here, we gon' keep it fair. You don't like my set, somebody help them. This the key, if we can disagree without disrespecting, everybody welcome. So what we talking about? Practice? What we talking about? Let's unpack this. Top shelf, sports talk, lights, cameras, we active.